Have you ever had trouble keeping yourself focused on reading a text? Maybe that's because it was written like the following paragraph. Alyssa had a bad night. Her work shift ran late. Alyssa came home late at night. It was very dark. The front door was locked. Alyssa could not find her keys. It started to rain. She looked for the spare. She couldn't find it anywhere. She had to bang on the door. Her parents woke up. They were angry. Alyssa had missed her curfew. Well, the paragraph tells you exactly what happened. It probably doesn't hold your interest because every sentence is short and simple, which makes the entire paragraph boring, choppy, and just downright annoying to read. Now read the revised version. Alyssa had a bad night after her work shift ran late. By the time she got home, it was dark outside and the front door was locked. She was searching for her keys when it started to rain. Feeling scared and defeated, Alyssa banged on the door. When her parents woke up, they were angry. Alyssa had missed her curfew. Much better. Even though both examples contain essentially the same sentences, the second paragraph uses a variety of words and sentence structures to keep the reader engaged. As a writer, one of your goals should always be to grab the attention of your readers. Even if the material isn't exciting, you can still find ways to make your writing interesting and engaging. In this lesson, you'll learn how to introduce more variety into your words, your phrases, and clauses. Because, come on now, you don't want to bore and frustrate your readers. To avoid repetition in your writing, you should substitute words with pronouns and synonyms. We saw this in our example with the replacement of Alyssa with the pronoun she. Pronouns are words that replace nouns. Using pronouns can help you avoid repeating the same noun over and over again. Consider this sentence. Sally clipped the leash on Sally's dog, and then Sally walked the dog to the park. Now, to make this sentence more interesting and less repetitive, use pronouns as a substitute for Sally. Sally clipped the leash on her dog, and then she walked the dog to the park. That's better. Another strategy for introducing new words into your writing is using synonyms. Synonyms are words that share the same meaning as other words. For example, the word vehicle is a synonym for automobile or car. Synonyms are a useful tool for adding variety to your writing because they help you avoid repeating nouns and pronouns. Here are some commonly used words and their synonyms. Pause the video and read the following passage, then compare it to the one that follows. The word home was used over and over in the first paragraph. In order to make the paragraph more readable, we replaced home with the synonyms apartments, residence, and building. As you search for synonyms to use in your own writing, notice how a synonym may have a slightly different meaning from one of its other synonyms. For example, you could be hungry, but not necessarily starving. Be sure to choose a synonym that fits best with the meaning of your sentence. One final way to add interesting words to your sentences is to add adjectives that end in ed or adverbs that end in ly to the beginning of the sentence. Consider these examples. Unfortunately, Samantha didn't get the job, and exhausted, the foreman collapsed into bed after working an 18-hour shift. Okay, let's talk about how to introduce more variety into your writing by replacing single words with phrases. Read this example. The town watchman patrolled the same route every morning. At exactly 9:30 p.m., you would see the old man shuffling down Main Street. Although I never spoke to him directly, I could still picture his stooped form making its way through the streets of the town. In this paragraph, the noun watchman is replaced with the phrases old man and his stooped form. These phrases serve two purposes. First, they reduce the repetitive use of watchman, and then secondly, they paint a vivid and memorable picture, or they add detail about what happened in the story. Now, be cautious when adding phrases to your writing. Too many can be confusing and wordy. When you do use a phrase, make sure that it's used to add meaning to the sentence, not to increase the word count or something like that. Consider the following example. A large cylindrical container that is filled with oil fell off a truck and stopped traffic for 5 hours. The example uses a lot of words to say very little. In this case, it would be better to use the descriptive noun phrase oil barrel instead of a large cylindrical container that's filled with oil. Nobody really cares. They just want to know what fell off the truck. You can also add new phrases to the beginning of a sentence to add variety and interest. Here are a few examples. A final way that you can add interest to your writing is by varying the structures of your sentences. Independent clauses are complete sentences that stand on their own. They're often called simple sentences, like this one. Jing was studying to be a special education teacher. It's fine for your sentences to be short and simple, but only highly experienced writers can string together these types of sentences effectively. Take Ernest Hemingway, for example. Here's an excerpt from his book, The Old Man and the Sea. His choice had been to stay in the deep, dark water far out beyond all snares and traps and treacheries. My choice was to go there to find him beyond all people in the world. Now we're joined together and have been since noon, and no one to help either one of us. Now, for most of us, sentence variety is important, and one way to do this is to join two independent clauses. Combining two completely unrelated sentences will be confusing, so be careful with that. When you join sentences, make sure that they're closely related. Read these two sentences. Danielle wanted to go to the movies. She planned to go with her roommate. You can combine these simple sentences by using a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Danielle wanted to go to the movies, comma, and she planned to go with her roommate. In this example, the coordinating conjunction and joins two simple sentences into a compound sentence. Another way to join these sentences is by using a semicolon. Danielle wanted to go to the movies, semicolon. She planned to go with her roommate. Semicolons can be used to combine two related independent clauses. Yep, it's just another way to do that very thing. To add more variety, you can also combine two sentences by making one a dependent clause. Dependent clauses cannot stand alone because they don't express a complete thought. To make a dependent clause, add a subordinating conjunction like though or because to the beginning of a sentence. Here are some commonly used subordinating conjunctions. Consider the following example. Shauna paid her cell phone bill late. Her service was disconnected. To add variety to sentence structures in our writing and to make the message clearer, we could change this by using a subordinating conjunction. Because Shauna paid her cell phone bill late, her service was disconnected. And note that when a dependent clause introduces an independent clause, a comma separates the two. Dependent clauses can also be placed at the end of a sentence. Carson never liked children. Once he had a child of his own, he did like children. Carson never liked children until he had a child of his own. Notice that you won't use a comma to separate the two clauses if the dependent clause comes after the independent clause. In this lesson, you learned how to introduce more variety into your words, phrases, and clauses. Because come on now, you don't want to bore and frustrate your readers. Thanks for listening.